I need to tell you something that honestly keeps me up at night. For the past 15 years, I have been tracking grocery supply chains. And right now, we are heading into one of the most serious shortages I have ever seen. But here's the thing, everyone is focused on the wrong products. While preppers are loading shopping carts with the usual suspects, there are 11 items quietly disappearing from shelves that almost nobody is paying attention to. And when I show you number 7, you are going to realize why restaurant owners have been hoarding it for the past 6 months. Number 4 has already vanished from 3 major retailers, and most people have not even noticed yet. If you want to stay ahead of what is coming, hit that subscribe button right now, because this information could literally save you hundreds of dollars and weeks of frustration. Look, grocery prices are rising faster than most people can keep up with. I've done the math for you. I put together a free emergency pantry blueprint that lists the exact 15 items you can get at Aldi or Walmart today to feed your family for 2 weeks. It's 28,000 calories for less than the cost of a takeout pizza. You can grab that shopping list for free at the link in the description so you can stop worrying and start prepping. Let me be direct with you. I have contacts in food distribution, people who move products from warehouses to stores every single day. And what they are telling me privately is very different from what you are hearing in the news. Certain items are getting quietly discontinued. Others are facing ingredient shortages that manufacturers are not talking about publicly. What I am about to share with you is not fear-mongering. This is practical information based on actual supply chain data. So let's get into it. Item number 1 is canned tomato paste. Not diced tomatoes, not tomato sauce. I am talking specifically about tomato paste in those small 6-ounce cans. Here is what is happening right now that nobody is talking about. The tomato harvest in California, which supplies about 95% of America's processed tomatoes, has been hit harder than any year in the past 2 decades. Between water restrictions and labor shortages, production is down nearly 30%. But here is the kicker. When tomato supplies drop, manufacturers prioritize the big money items like ketchup and pasta sauce. Tomato paste gets pushed to the back of the line. I noticed this 6 months ago when I went to buy my usual case. The price had jumped from 89 cents a can to $1.49. That is a 67% increase in 1 year. Then last month, my local grocery store had empty spots on the shelf for the first time ever. The manager told me they are getting half the shipments they used to. Now, why does this matter for your pantry? Tomato paste is the most concentrated form of tomatoes you can buy. One small can equals about 8 fresh tomatoes. It is packed with lycopene, which is a powerful antioxidant. And the concentration means you can transform any bland meal into something that actually tastes good with just a spoonful. Here is what I do with it. Add a tablespoon to soups or stews for depth and richness. Mix it with water to make your own tomato sauce at whatever thickness you want. Spread it on pizza dough as a base. Stir it into rice while cooking for a Spanish rice flavor. Or mix it with vinegar and spices for a quick barbecue sauce. The versatility is insane. But here is the secret most home cooks do not know. Tomato paste is one of the few foods that actually increases in nutritional value when cooked. Heating it makes the lycopene more bioavailable, meaning your body absorbs more of it. Storage is simple. The cans last for years in your pantry. I keep about 50 cans rotated by date. That costs me around $60, but it is 50 meals elevated from boring to delicious. And when tomato products become genuinely scarce in the next few months, you will have already locked in your supply at the old prices. Here is my insider tip. Buy the organic versions right now while you still can. They use a higher quality tomato, and the flavor difference is dramatic. Yes, they cost about 40 cents more per can, but when these products become hard to find, you will be glad you went for quality. Item number 2 is canned pumpkin. Pure canned pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling, which is loaded with sugar and spices. I am talking about pure 100% pumpkin puree. Here is what is happening in the supply chain that should terrify you. About 80% of canned pumpkin in America comes from one company, and they source from one specific region in Illinois. One region. When weather problems hit that area, the entire national supply gets affected. This happened in 2009. There was a pumpkin shortage so severe that stores were limiting customers to 2 cans each. The same thing almost happened in 2015. And based on what I am seeing right now with their harvest reports, we are headed for another shortage this year. But most people think canned pumpkin is just for pie at Thanksgiving. That is exactly why this is such a smart stockpile item. While everyone ignores it for 11 months of the year, you are sitting on a nutritional gold mine. Let me break down what makes canned pumpkin incredible for food storage. 1 cup contains 7 grams of fiber. That is more than most whole grain breads. It is loaded with vitamin A, giving you over 200% of your daily needs in a single serving. And it is naturally sweet, which means you can use it to make food taste good without adding sugar. Here's how I use it in ways that would shock most people. Mix it into oatmeal for a creamy texture and natural sweetness. Add it to smoothies for thickness and nutrition. Stir it into soup or chili to add body and a subtle sweetness that balances spices. Use it as a butter substitute in baking, cutting calories while keeping moisture. Or mix it with Greek yogurt, cinnamon, and a bit of honey for a healthy dessert. My kids have no idea they are eating vegetables when I do this. During a 2-week period last year, when I challenged myself to avoid grocery stores, canned pumpkin became my secret weapon. I was adding it to everything. Pancakes became fluffier. Pasta sauce became richer. Even scrambled eggs got a nutritional boost with just a couple of tablespoons mixed in. You cannot even taste it, but the texture becomes incredible. Here is the crazy part. Most preppers completely overlook this item because they do not understand how versatile it is. They think it is seasonal. Meanwhile, I have 40 cans in my pantry that cost me about $50 total. That is 40 chances to make bland food interesting while packing serious nutrition. The cans last for 2 to 3 years easily, sometimes longer if stored in a cool, dark place. I check mine every 6 months and rotate stock, oldest in front, newest in back. Simple system that ensures nothing goes to waste. And when the shortage hits later this year and people are paying $4 a can on Amazon because stores are sold out, you will already have yours. Item number 3 is evaporated milk, not condensed milk, which is sweetened. I am talking about evaporated milk, which is just regular milk with 60% of the water removed. Here is what is happening right now in dairy production. Milk prices have been extremely volatile. Feed costs for dairy cows are up nearly 40% compared to 3 years ago. Smaller dairy operations are shutting down every month, and the big producers are focusing their output on fluid milk and cheese because those have better profit margins. Evaporated milk is becoming a lower priority. I started noticing this 8 months ago. The store brand evaporated milk I usually buy disappeared completely. Just gone. The name brand was still there, but at almost double the price. That is your first warning sign that supply is tightening. Now, why is evaporated milk better than powdered milk for stockpiling? The taste is significantly better. It is much closer to real milk. You can use it directly in coffee or tea without that weird powdered milk taste. And it is incredibly versatile in cooking. Here is what makes this a game changer in your pantry. You can dilute it with equal parts water to make regular milk. Use it straight for a creamy addition to soups or sauces. It works perfectly in baking recipes. You can even make whipped cream with it if you chill it properly. The calcium content is higher than regular milk because the water has been removed. You are getting concentrated nutrition. Last winter, I did an experiment. I stopped buying regular milk for a month and used only evaporated milk diluted with water. My family did not notice the difference in cereal, cooking, or coffee. The only time they could tell was when drinking it straight, and even then it was just slightly thicker. For a stockpile situation, that is perfect. Here is my storage method. I buy cases of 12 cans at a time. They stack easily and take up way less space than regular milk cartons. Each can lasts 12 to 18 months in the pantry. I keep about 50 cans, which cost around $70. That is the equivalent of nearly 25 gallons of regular milk. But it never goes bad, never needs refrigeration, and costs less per serving. Compare that to powdered milk, which most preppers stock. Powdered milk is fine, but the taste turns a lot of people off. Kids especially hate it. Evaporated milk bridges that gap. It tastes good enough that your family will actually use it without complaining. Here is a recipe that saved my sanity during a power outage. Mix 1 can of evaporated milk with 1 can of water. Add a packet of hot chocolate mix. Heat it up on a camp stove or even a candle warmer. You have got rich, creamy hot chocolate that tastes like it came from a coffee shop, When everything else feels like an emergency, small comforts like that matter more than you realize. Item number 4 is jarred garlic, minced garlic in jars. And before you say that fresh garlic is better, let me explain why that does not matter for what is coming. Garlic prices have tripled in some markets over the past 18 months. Most garlic in American stores comes from China, about 70% of it, and import costs have skyrocketed. On top of that, jarred garlic manufacturers are facing shortages of the jars themselves. Glass shortages are real right now. Factories cannot get enough bottles. That means even if garlic is available, getting it into jars and onto shelves is becoming a problem. I have a friend who works in procurement for a major food brand. He told me their jarred garlic line has been cut by 30%. They are making less because they literally cannot source enough jars. Now, here is why jarred garlic is essential for your stockpile. Flavor fatigue is real. When you are eating stored food for weeks, everything starts tasting the same. Garlic transforms bland food into something you actually want to eat. Just half a teaspoon added to rice, beans, soup, or pasta makes a massive difference. And unlike fresh garlic, which sprouts and goes bad quickly, jarred garlic lasts for months after opening if you keep it refrigerated. Unopened, it lasts for years on the shelf. It is already peeled and minced, which saves enormous time. In a crisis situation where you are cooking on a camp stove or over a fire, that convenience is priceless. You are not wasting time and energy peeling and chopping. I keep 6 large jars in my pantry. That cost me about $24. It sounds simple, but those 6 jars represent hundreds of meals that taste like real food instead of survival rations. During a week-long camping trip last summer, where I tested my stockpile food, jarred garlic was the MVP. Rice and canned chicken with a spoonful of garlic tasted like a meal I would actually order at a restaurant. Without it, I was just eating bland calories. Here is a survival cooking trick I learned. If you are heating water for rice or pasta, throw in a spoonful of jarred garlic right at the beginning. As the water heats up, the garlic infuses into everything. You do not need to saute it or do anything fancy. Just drop it in. Instant flavor. Item number 5 is shelf-stable tofu, specifically the aseptic packed tofu that does not need refrigeration. Most people have never even seen this product because it is usually stocked in the international aisle, not with the refrigerated tofu. Here is what makes this brilliant for stockpiling. Protein is expensive and hard to store. Meat requires freezing or expensive freeze drying. Dried beans are great, but require long cooking times and lots of water. Shelf-stable tofu gives you complete protein, requires no refrigeration, and is ready to eat straight from the package. The shelf life is typically 12 months or longer. I have used packages that were 18 months old, and they were perfectly fine. And because it comes in aseptic packaging, it is protected from light and air, which are the 2 main things that destroy food quality. Now, I know some people hate tofu. I get it. But here is the thing. In a survival situation, you are not going to be picky. And tofu is basically a blank canvas. It takes on whatever flavor you add to it, mix it with soy sauce, and it tastes savory. Add it to a curry, and it soaks up the spices. 1 package of tofu can stretch a can of soup into 2 full meals. Just dice it up and drop it in. The tofu absorbs the broth and adds substance. You can mash it up and mix it into rice or pasta for extra protein. The protein content is impressive. 1 package typically has around 20 grams of protein. That is the same as 3 eggs or a chicken breast. I keep about 24 packages in my pantry. That costs me roughly $50. Here is the insider secret. Asian grocery stores sell this stuff in bulk for way cheaper than regular supermarkets. I found packages for $1.89 each at my local Asian market, while the same product at a mainstream grocery store was $3.49. Same exact product. And because most Americans do not even think to shop at Asian markets during a shortage, these products stay in stock when everything else is gone. Item number 6 is canned black olives. Not the fancy ones in jars with herbs and oil. I am talking about basic canned black olives. Here is what is happening with olive production. Climate change has hammered Mediterranean olive groves over the past 5 years. Spain and Italy, which produce most of the world's olives, have seen harvests drop by as much as 50% in some regions. On top of that, a bacterial disease called Xylella fastidiosa has wiped out millions of olive trees. The industry is in crisis mode. Prices for olive products have been climbing steadily, but most people only notice olive oil prices. What they are missing is that canned olives are disappearing too. I started tracking this a year ago. The store brand canned olives at my grocery store used to be 99 cents. Then they jumped to $1.29. Now they are $1.79, and half the time they are out of stock. That is an 80% price increase in 18 months. But here's why canned black olives are critical for your stockpile. Healthy fats. Most stored food is dangerously low in fat. Your body needs fat to absorb vitamins and maintain energy. Olives deliver that in a shelf-stable form. They also add a rich, savory flavor to anything you put them in. A handful of olives mixed into rice or pasta completely changes the taste. It goes from boring to restaurant quality. Here is how I use canned olives in my rotation cooking. Chop them up and mix them into pasta with a little olive oil and garlic. Add them to soups or stews for a Mediterranean flavor. Put them on homemade pizza or flatbread, or eat them straight from the can as a snack that actually fills you up. The cans last for years in your pantry. I have some that are 3 years old and they are still perfect. I keep about 30 cans, which cost around $50. That is 30 meals upgraded from boring to satisfying. Item number 7 is canned green chilies, specifically the diced or whole green chilies in small 4-ounce cans. Labor shortages are hitting farms hard. Peppers require hand harvesting, and there simply are not enough workers. On top of that, extreme heat in growing regions has reduced yields. New Mexico, which produces most of America's green chilies, had a terrible season last year, and manufacturers are already warning that supply will be tight this year. I noticed this trend 6 months ago when my favorite brand of canned green chilies was suddenly unavailable for 3 weeks. When it came back, the price had jumped from $1.19 to $1.79 per can. Now, why are canned green chilies a stockpile essential? They add flavor, heat, and interest to bland food without overpowering it. A single 4-ounce can is enough to transform a pot of rice, a can of soup, or scrambled eggs. And unlike hot sauce, which is basically just vinegar and peppers, canned green chilies have texture and a more complex flavor. The cans are small, so they take up almost no space. The shelf life is easily 3 to 5 years. I keep about 40 cans in various heat levels. Total cost was around $60. Add them to canned soup for instant flavor. Mix them into rice while it is cooking for a southwestern taste. Stir them into scrambled eggs or omelets, or mix them with cream cheese for a simple dip. Item number 8 is canned coconut cream, not coconut milk. I am talking about coconut cream, which is much thicker and richer. Coconut production is concentrated in a few countries, mainly Thailand and the Philippines. Both have been hit with extreme weather and labor shortages. On top of that, the global demand for coconut products has exploded. That means prices are rising and supply is tightening. Coconut cream is one of the first products to feel the squeeze. Why is coconut cream better for stockpiling? It is thicker and richer, so you use less of it. 1 can of coconut cream can replace 2 cans of coconut milk in most recipes, and the fat content is even higher, which is critical in a survival situation. Your body craves fat when under stress. Add a spoonful to coffee for a rich, creamy texture. Use it to make soups and curries incredibly filling. Mix it into oatmeal for a tropical flavor. The cans last for years. I keep about 20 cans, which cost around $50. Item number 9 is dried lentils, specifically red lentils, not green or brown lentils. Red lentils. Here is why this matters. Red lentils cook in 15 minutes. Green and brown lentils take 45 minutes to an hour. In a survival situation where fuel is limited, that difference is massive. But here is what is happening with lentil supplies. Canada produces most of the world's lentils. Last year, they had a terrible growing season due to drought. Production dropped by nearly 40%. And because lentils are seen as a niche product in America, supply chains are not prioritizing them. Why are red lentils better than beans for stockpiling? They do not require soaking. You can cook them straight from the bag. They break down into a creamy texture, which makes them perfect for soups and stews. And they are packed with protein and fiber. 1 cup of cooked lentils has 18 grams of protein. Cook them with broth and spices for a simple soup. Add them to rice while it is cooking for a complete protein meal, or cook them with curry powder and coconut milk for a filling meal. I keep about 30 pounds of red lentils in food-grade buckets. They will last 10 to 15 years stored this way. The cost was around $50. Item number 10 is instant coffee, not ground coffee, instant coffee. Coffee prices are at historic highs. Growing regions in Brazil and Vietnam have been hammered by droughts and floods. On top of that, instant coffee production requires more processing, which means manufacturers are cutting back on less profitable products. I have already seen several store-brand instant coffees disappear from shelves in the past year. You might be thinking that ground coffee is better, and sure, fresh brewed coffee tastes better, but in a survival situation, instant coffee is superior. No equipment needed. You do not need a coffee maker, filters, or anything else. Just hot water and a spoon. It uses less water. And it is faster. The caffeine content is actually higher per serving than regular coffee. That means you are getting more energy with less product. And instant coffee lasts basically forever if stored properly. I keep about 10 large jars of instant coffee in my stockpile. That costs around $60. But think about what you are getting. Coffee is not just about caffeine. It is about morale. It is about maintaining some sense of normalcy when everything feels chaotic. Item number 11 is canned sardines, not tuna, sardines. Overfishing and changing ocean temperatures have reduced sardine populations dramatically. Portugal and Spain, which produce most of the world's canned sardines, have cut their catches by nearly half. And because sardines are seen as a low-value product compared to tuna, manufacturers are not prioritizing them. I have been tracking prices, and canned sardines have doubled in cost over the past 3 years. A can that used to be $1.99 is now $3.99 or more. Now, why are sardines better than tuna for stockpiling? Omega-3 fatty acids. Sardines have way more omega-3s than tuna, and omega-3s are critical for brain function, inflammation control, and heart health. They are also lower in mercury because they are smaller fish. Tuna accumulates mercury over time. Sardines do not live long enough for that to be a problem. And sardines provide more calcium because you eat the bones. Mash them up and mix them with crackers for a quick snack. Add them to pasta with olive oil and garlic. Put them on toast with a little hot sauce. Or eat them straight from the can when you need fast fuel. The cans last for years. I keep about 50 cans in my stockpile. That cost around $150, which sounds like a lot, but each can is a complete meal with serious nutrition. Okay. Let's talk about what to do with all this information. The 11 items I just shared are disappearing faster than most people realize. Some are already hard to find in certain regions. Others will be scarce within the next 6 months. Here is what I recommend. Do not try to buy everything at once. That is overwhelming and expensive. Instead, every time you go grocery shopping, add 2 or 3 of these items to your cart. Over the next few months, you will build up a solid stockpile without breaking the bank. Start with the items that make the most sense for your family. If you cook Italian food a lot, grab tomato paste. If you have kids, canned pumpkin is a game changer. If you drink coffee every day, stock up on instant coffee now. Think about what you actually use in your kitchen on a regular basis. And here is the reality. This is not about panic buying. This is about being prepared. When shortages hit, you are not going to be scrambling at empty shelves, paying inflated prices. You are going to be sitting at home comfortable knowing you took action when it mattered. You are going to be the person who planned ahead while everyone else wished they had listened. Now, if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to see it. Your neighbor, your family, your friends, the people who are going to wish they had listened when they are standing in line at a grocery store that has nothing left. Forward this video to people you care about. Post it in your community groups. Get the word out. Subscribe to this channel if you have not already, because I am going to keep bringing you insider information that mainstream media is not covering. Supply chain issues, price increases, product shortages. I have got my finger on the pulse, and I am going to keep you ahead of the curve. This is information you will not find anywhere else because I have actual contacts in the industry who tell me what is really happening. Comment below and let me know which of these 11 items you are stocking up on first. Are you team tomato paste, Team Sardines. I want to hear from you. And if you have other items that you think should be on this list, drop those in the comments too. I read every single one, and your feedback helps me create better content for this community. Remember, the best time to prepare was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Do not wait until everyone else figures this out. By then, it will be too late. The shelves will be empty, the prices will be double, and you will be kicking yourself for not taking action today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.